But I don't know about you, but I fucking want a life better than safe and fine. And I lived that life most of my life because of all the different things that were repressed and pushed down and shoved down. And as I've reclaimed them, I'm living a life that's actually right for me and that feels fucking good. I had a podcast guest who had $140 million buyout of his company, and he woke up the most depressed he's ever been in his life. In business, you're going to attract all the things that you haven't healed. People just are like, I want to make a bunch of money. I want to have financial freedom. If you want the full rich life and the business that's super successful, you're going to have to deal with your
GB is in the house, otherwise known as, and you know what? I do trip on your name. I swear to God. I've said it so many times, but I always want to say Genea, but is that,
Yeah.
oh, it is Genea. Okay. Why do
Yeah.
I doubt myself with people's names sometimes? Genea, you're looking great. You're looking like you got sun on you.
That's because I live in California now.
It's because you left New York City, and we're gonna get into that. Um, so first of all, Janae, I want to just say thank you so much for being on my show, AGAME Mindset. It's something that I kicked off a little while ago, and it's about just your A game. Like, I believe life is a game. I
True.
also and play it at the best, and I also feel if you're gonna do something, play it at the highest, play it at your A game, or strive for that. And you're definitely somebody that has been in my life, is in my life in this on this planet, that I've seen so much of your stuff, your content, and I've seen that there's some new things that have happened in your life, which we're going to talk about. And I'm dying to hear these new things that I'm seeing. So first and foremost, thank you so much for being on my show. It's a pleasure seeing you, to be really honest. So thank you.
Thank you. It's great to actually be seen. Something I was not really truly comfortable with for a very long time.
Yeah, and oh my God, we're gonna totally get into that. I actually experienced you a little bit at that time, but it was an awesome experience because I saw so many facets of you back then that were just so honest, real, intense, vulnerable, and I'd love to get into that with you if at all possible. So
Yep.
I'm gonna say that I was thankful to be a part of that chapter of your life when you were living in New York City, in Brooklyn specifically.
Yep.
So let me just kind of give my audience a quick little plug here. So now you have an I'm gonna totally screw this up, so I'm gonna hand it over to you quickly. But I
Okay.
do want to just say the words. You have a program, you have an entity, you have this space on the planet called Be the Wolf.
Yep.
First of all, I think that's pretty badass in every way. So awesome. Congrats. And so I don't screw this up. I'm going to hand it over to you. And I would just kind of love to hear what is Be the Wolf, how it got there. There's no clocking of time here. So spend all the time you want because I would love to actually hear this.
Okay. So Be the Wolf is the name of my company. It's the name of my podcast. And it's based off of a metaphor for the Yellowstone National Park wolves. So if you don't know the story, in the early 1900s they eradicated all the wolves from the park to make it safe. They took out a part of the ecosystem and threw it away to make it safe. And so what ended up happening over time is the ecosystem collapsed. The elk overpopulated, they ate the vegetation by the rivers spread out, the beavers left, et cetera, et cetera. And obviously, this didn't happen overnight. But in the mid 90s, they introduced 41 wolves back into the environment. And over time, everything started to balance out. The elk population balanced out, the vegetation by the rivers regrew, the rivers rerouted, the species returned, et cetera, et cetera. But really, when I first heard that story, it hit me so hard, and I don't know why at the time. I didn't know why it hit me so hard, but I knew it was for me. There was something about it that was for me. And over time, what I've really come to realize is that what I did in my life, which a ton of people do, is I disowned, discarded different parts and different aspects of myself in order to stay safe, just like they took out the wolves of the ecosystem to stay safe. So I squashed the part of me that was vocal and expressed my needs and wants. I squashed and disowned and shoved down the part of me that was really fun and really happy and curious and asked questions. And so all of these different aspects of myself, I shoved down, and over time, it was like the life I created was only a partial life. Like, sure, Yellowstone was still great. It was still a great park, but it was not really what it was meant to be. And so being the wolf is really about owning all of you, being all of you so that you can thrive and harmonize and actually be and create the life that is meant for you, because a lot of people are living this life that is safe and fine. But I don't know about you, but I fucking want a life better than safe and fine. And I lived that life most of my life because of all the different things that were repressed and pushed down and shoved down. And as I've reclaimed them, well, you've been watching some of the shit that I do. As I
Yeah.
reclaim them, I'm living a life that's actually right for me and that feels fucking good. So, yeah, that's what Be the Wolf is all about. So, you being the wolf is about you living your fullest self and reclaiming all the aspects of you that were forgotten, forbidden, that you were told were too much, too wild, and too wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. We got the wolves back.
Yeah.
Um, that's awesome. It's an awesome story. And I love the way that you said it because it was also you saying it, like you in your life and who you are. So it connected a story with you. And I think that was super awesome. And you're right. Yeah, I have been following you since the early stages in Brooklyn, since your old apartment. Um, so yeah, we met in Brooklyn. We had drinks, we hung out, we talked, we got to know each other. Just a lot of cool, badass stuff that does happen in New York City. Brooklyn is a cool place, but New York City's it's a tough joint. You know what I mean? There's a lot of wolves. It's just a crazy, wild space that, man, it's hard. It's got its hardness to it. So I loved seeing you and a lot of the stuff that you're doing, and we're gonna go over that. I'm seeing fire walking. I'm seeing like Mount Everest. I'm seeing like oceans and like sun, right?
Yeah.
Which is not New York City. It's a different sun here.
Right.
Um, but I'm also seeing you both in those environments and in like a studio or whatnot. But I'm seeing a totally brighter you,
Yeah.
right? I'm seeing like a fresh, revived, some sun on the face, and just happy, and your posts, your videos are just like they're you, like they're real, they're raw, they're in your face, they're emotional, they're funny. You share with other people, you're there, like you're in these moments. And I'm like, that for me personally, because I knew you back here and I was working with you, which we'll touch on as well. I love seeing that because I love seeing your progression to where you are now. And
Yeah.
what's this year going to be like? What's next year going to be like? So I just want to say absolute awesome acknowledgement for making the move. I'm sure it was hard. It's so hard to leave New York City. I don't know what it is, but maybe it's not. So talk to me. Give me the transition. You were here in Brooklyn, New York. You were pushing your content. You were living this life, wearing a parka every day. It's snowing, it's cold, and now you're in California. Walk me through that.
Okay. So it really started, I was jumping on the trampoline one day, and I always thought New York was gonna be my forever home. I love New York. I still love New York. I still like it is a home for me. It's maybe not my total home, but I thought it was going to be my forever home. So I'm jumping on the trampoline as I like to do because it makes me happy and it's fun. And all of a sudden, I have this vision. I see this vision of a beach and I can see it. I can smell it. I can taste it. It's like right there. And I just stopped and I was like, holy shit, I guess I'm leaving New York because I just knew that I was supposed to live at this beach. And so after in December, I went to hike Haleakala. That's a crazy story. Um, but I went to hike Haleakala in Hawaii and I flew to LA after because I through process of elimination, I knew it wasn't the East Coast. I knew it wasn't the Gulf of Mexico, Hawaii, Mexico, Northern California, Santa Barbara, San Diego. So that just left the little stretch of LA. And I came and explored all the beaches, and some of the beaches looked like the beach, but it was ironically, it was Manhattan Beach that
Mm.
felt, looked, and smelled like the dream, like the vision. And the year before, I had told my friend, I'm like, I think I'm going to be moving to Manhattan. I don't know how or why, but it's just this feeling. Turns out I was right. I just had the wrong Manhattan. But the thing that's so like, you want to talk about A game. When I moved to New York from San Francisco, I had wanted to move for 15 years. Like my heart was called to New York. Like, I mean, I went there every 6 to 9 months, but I was just it was one thing after another. "Oh, it's too expensive. Oh, I have a good job right now. Oh, I have a boyfriend." So it was like one thing after another why I didn't do what I truly wanted. And so it took me 15 years to make that move. And this one literally took I just made the decision on Christmas when I flew back to New York and I moved here January 31st, 5 weeks. And so when we're talking about trying to live an A game life, you have to be able to do the things that are you're called to do. You have to be able to make those decisions and do them quickly because there's a moment in time when something is there. And when you have that feeling, that gut feeling, it's there for that moment and that period of time. It's not like it's going to be there 15 years later. Like New York was great to me, but probably had I moved when I really felt the calling, there probably would have been something, there was probably something there for me that I missed because I was too fucking scared to make the move. So yeah, that's how I moved to California.
Yeah, you made decisions. You're making decisions quicker, faster. They're they're entering you a lot faster. You're able to think about it and make and know what feels right for you and just do it. Less hesitation.
Yeah.
And I know, I've been watching a lot of your content. I'm seeing your journey and I'm seeing that less hesitation. I'm seeing you just do it. I'm
Yeah.
seeing like just jump, right? Which is as it's as cool as it can get when you get to see people do that, right? I'll be honest, full disclosure, because I'm still in New York City, I'm here in Manhattan. There are some parts of me, that I'm like, I need to get out more. I need to jump. I need to hit that mountain. I need to go and hit that country and that continent. And so it's inspiring, right?
Mhm.
I'm not jumping on certain things like that. I'm still raising this. I have a 17-year-old little son of a bitch. I love him, but he's got me here. But we're gonna travel this summer, so I'm excited about that. But there's a lot of your content that's inspiring,
Thank
right?
you.
And yeah, more than well, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that you're on my show because
Thank you.
you were and are someone that had a tremendous effect on me. We had
Mm,
some awesome conversations, some deep conversations, some silly, stupid conversations. But ultimately, it was like there was so much there in an intellectual, um, creative, spiritual way. And I know that, we worked together in A game, and this was at kind of the early stages of you that I want to get into, where
yeah.
you were starting to step into the world of like getting on camera and your backdrop and who you are, what your message was. And you went through that period of time, and it was amazing because I was able to to be a part of your life where I got to experience your vulnerability, you letting go. And even at that time, as you were letting go, there were things that you didn't know you needed to let go or that you were going to let go. It was still early on. I think this
Mhm.
was like pre-COVID or like first year of COVID. It was like,
Something
wasn't it
like
like
that.
how many years?
I can't it might have been I think it might have been pre-COVID,
Pre-COVID.
actually,
Yeah.
like, just right before COVID, maybe. I
Like
yeah.
2019,
Yeah,
something like
2019,
that.
maybe 2020. It was a while
2020,
ago.
yeah. And back then, I was so about helping people just be confident on camera. You know, I
Mhm.
coached a lot of actors, I do sales and so forth. And so you expressed a lot of what you wanted to do, what you wanted to share to the world. And I know you were putting a lot of work into it back then, right? Like the logic part was like you were breaking things down. And I'm like, well, let's get you on camera. Let's get you to make this thing happen. You got a microphone. And so I got to experience that vulnerability, which is honestly my playhouse. I love that early stage of vulnerability. Um, it's so new, right? I'm sure today you're still learning new things and you're still
Always.
scared of things, but not at that level. And I also want to touch on something that's you don't know this, but you're also somebody that really falls into what I would call an avatar of mine. So I'm actually about to release two workshops. A workshop for people that are in sales, high ticket closers that want better skill set and confidence and all of that wonderful stuff. But the other workshop, you ready? Are for
Mhm.
total non-high ticket closers and sales. People, and I know you have a background in this, people that are in another career, right? So for example, bartenders, right?
Yeah.
People like a Bart, and I want to hear your story here. I want the world to hear your story. Bartenders specifically, but there's like EMTs, nurses, financial advisors, people in certain police officers, people in certain careers that have massive skill sets. And at bartender, for example, like I was never a bartender, but I know you were, and I want to hear you about that. But you guys had to deal with a lot of stuff, hours, kicking people out, alcohol, you're drinking too, doing stuff, late hours. Um, you're getting paid by tips and whatnot. You're dealing with all walks of life, all human
Mhm.
beings. I mean, that type of skill set to handle that more than a couple of years is massive. And so I'm putting it out there that I want to work with. Listen, if you're a bartender and you're tired of it, your skill sets transfer.
Mhm.
Just need you need some AI skills, you need some sales skills. I got you. But your confidence level, man, when I put you in that environment, boom, you guys know how to rock and roll. So as well as real estate agents and so forth. So the second workshop is for people that are in a career that are done. The time is over. They want to move on. They're done with that chapter in their life. What is the next badass thing that they can do that actually serves them better in their lives and brings in more of a holistic approach in their life? Not that you can't have that as a bartender, but you know it better than anyone else because I've heard you before and I've seen your posts and I know you came up the ranks of bartending. I've read your stories and I know you made that change. I know you did. You said, "I'm done with this career," and you jumped off. That's when I met you. You jumped off and you wanted to do this thing, and here you are now. So I'm going to say to my audience of bartenders and people in something that they're doing that they've done it. They've done their 10,000 hours and they're ready to move on because they're bigger than that. Well, my guest is a perfect example of that. She let something go to become this. I would love for you to kind of fill in my audience here of just that journey, as a bartender, and really what made you jump from that point.
Well, it's really funny because bartending served me well for a very long time. And what I didn't realize is it allowed me to play safe. It allowed me to live the things that were really important to me, but in a very small way. So for me, I I was a total people person behind the bar. I could totally run a room. I could jump over the bar, break up fights. I could do all of that shit, but I could do it only in the context of it was the job and working for other people. And in that, I there was some like I could be who I was if I had that safety net of the bar in front of me. Like I could talk to you, I could flirt with you, I could charm you, I could be my fucking self if I had that bar, because I also had that moment of if there was a slight thing that was uncomfortable. And a lot of times these emotions come up and you don't even feel them. You're just sort of like, oh, I have to go over here and check on somebody else. So I never had to like stand in the uncomfortableness of the fact that because of my background, because of my childhood, I was actually terrified of people. I loved people so much and I wanted connection so badly, but I could really only do it with this bar in front of me, this safety net that protect me in the way of the job where I was technically the boss, right? I'm the drug dealer essentially. So I'm the boss. You have to listen to me. And the also being able to walk away when I like felt uncomfortable. And all this stuff is happening kind of at a subconscious level. So I wasn't fully aware of it. Like I can only see it now in hindsight. And now, ironically, when I look at somebody behind the bar, I'm like, oh my God, you look like you're trapped. Just let you out of that fucking cage, please. Because for me now, going back to that, that's what it feels like. And I even at some point I like went back behind the bar to help a friend out for a couple weeks or a couple months. And it just the thing that I liked about it wasn't there anymore because I just felt trapped. Because now I can actually have these conversations, can really be open and stand in the if somebody like says something I disagree with, I can stand with my opinion and not buckle. I can do all of that. And so um getting out from behind the bar was really important. And then I made the leap into entrepreneurship. And I think all your entrepreneur friends and people, like, if you really want to make it as an entrepreneur, you're going to have to face all your shit. Like, if you really want to do the thing you're meant to do, it's not for the faint of heart. If you're uncomfortable around a certain type of person, you're going to eventually face that and you'll attract it because it that's how it works. You'll attract that frequency if you haven't healed it. Um, so in business, you're going to attract all the things that you haven't healed. And so you talk about mindset and you talk about A game. And I think when we talk about mindset, everyone's like, oh, it's, discipline and resilience and that kind of shit. But it goes deeper because the stuff that drives your decisions is the emotional content. And if you have like unresolved shit, like you're mad because your dad wasn't home enough, like that's going to show up in your business. And people don't realize that. People just are like, I want to make a bunch of money. I want to have financial freedom. But if you really want to do it and be happy, that's the key. Because plenty of people can make a ton of money and run a business. But if you want both, if you want the full rich life and the business that's super successful, you're going to have to deal with your shit. And so as a bartender, I didn't have to deal with my shit.
100%. I mean, especially right now in my life, you're resonating with me because yes, as an entrepreneur and working and knowing other entrepreneurs, you got to deal with your shit. All your shit comes to you. Yeah, it all starts to come out of the woodworks. And another interesting thing too, and let me see if you would relate to this. You also have to deal with the people that aren't entrepreneurs, the 9 to 5ers, the ones that are in that, nothing against them, but the ones that are in that safe space, safe corporate job, or the thing that it's reliable, they know it's there, and they're the ones that are also on you going, what are you doing? Why are you leaving that safety nest? What, you have a kid, or you're doing this, or you're doing that, and then you get to hear all of that, and it works you, right? But it also, for me, it makes me even stronger, knowing that that was me. And that's great that that's you, but that's not me. Those aren't the entrepreneurs and the people that I work with and I identify with. But when you said that, it resonated with me because it's real. Like it's not just like something you read in a book, like it's actually physically, emotionally, spiritually in you, right? And you wake up and it's just it's in every fiber, every cell of your body when you go through this. And that's the big picture as an entrepreneur. But when you chunk this down to like the smaller parts of it, like being on camera when you were starting out early on and just continuing to expose yourself. Now, I love that I know you're real. And so I don't have to ask this, but are you cool that can we go a couple of layers deeper?
Yeah,
Can
go
we
as deep
go
as
there?
you can. Go as deep as you can. I'll go all the way.
Okay. And in some of your recent posts, and I'd love for you, and you're going to plug your info and all that so people can follow you and all that wonderful stuff and enjoy you in your journey as well as connect with you for how you serve and help people. Um, you had some emotional moments recently, and it's been raw. It's been like in some tent or some whatever, and it's just like here's the motherfucking shit. And I'm like watching, I'm going, what? And I'm there, and it's like it's raw, it's real. It's like that, it's part of the entrepreneurial journey, but you're exposing it. And I appreciate that in every way. And if you're cool, I would like to share with the audience and the world a little video.
Sure.
I think I gave it to you back in the day. And I got to tell you, to this very day in my life, again, this was like 2019, 2020, when I was working with you and coaching with you and getting you to be the gorgeous you, and you were that then, but even more now. But just to get you to shine and come out, right? And like, fuck it, do your thing. And it was such, I still to this day, I watch this video of you and and I forget that I'm in it because all I'm focused on is you. And I'm just like, and you remind me every time I watch this, the power of video, right? You remind me every time I watch it who a part of me in being scared and letting go, but being honest and true and staying there, staying your ground, holding your holding yourself. And I see it and I forget that I'm in it. And I'm like, man, that's and there's times that I'll watch it where I need inspiration in my life. And I watch it and I go, ah, there it is. And I go on to do some of the things that I do, the heavy lifting that I do. So before I share this, I just want to give you a minute. Do you have anything that you want to kind of recap of what I said, or anything that you want to share specifically with what I was talking about, what you've done recently, which is kind of an emotional moment? I'm talking about the that little mountain
Yeah, Everest.
over somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about Everest. But one of the things I think that's really interesting is you're about to share this really old video of me and trying to step out and be seen. And I might actually get a little emotional. Wow, I didn't expect this. But um, so the thing that I was the most scared of in my life was being seen, being truly seen. And so that's why I disowned and pushed down all these different aspects of me. So in this journey, especially like talking on social media and all of the things, is to let people see who I really am was terrifying. And in that, I remember in some of our sessions, and this might have been the one where it was so uncomfortable for me to let not the me that I thought people would like be seen, but like actually let the real me be seen. And I still struggle with it. And I still like can see times in my videos where I'm slipping in and out of it a little bit. I'm like, oh, fuck, doing the like crafted thing to make sure I look like it sounds right or whatever, instead of just being the truth. And, people that follow me know, like, I had crazy, crazy trauma. Like, my first big trauma was I held the hand of my junkie friend, my junkie best friend. Well, he died of an overdose at 4 years. I was 4 years old. And then there was, being tied up, locked in the closet by the babysitter's kids, physical and emotional abuse by my mom, almost getting kidnapped 3 times, and sexual assault as a child as well. So I have this like big, like lots of stuff. And so I hid to try and stay safe. I hid everything that I was because everything, it seemed like being me got me hurt. And so my job to stay safe and to survive was about making sure I put on the right mask so that you would like me enough so that I would be safe. And that was everything in my nervous system. And it was every survival instinct. And my nervous system was in survival mode up until like 2020. Like I literally spent 20 years not sleeping. And so when I started trying to express myself, it was really, really hard because it wasn't just about being seen. It's the internal subconscious fear that all those things that had happened to me would happen to me again if I actually let you see who I was. So, yeah.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah, see the video and we can talk about Everest.
when you painted the picture of the bar,
Mhm.
never thought of it that way. And just like you, I know a lot of bartenders.
Yeah.
I worked with a lot of actors, a lot of creative people, and a lot of bartenders. And I never thought of it that way, where it's like this fourth wall,
Mhm.
like this safety thing. Like I'm a badass, but like you come outside of that, not within the bar space, but like outside of that in life, who really are you?
Yeah.
That was beautifully said. And for all those out there that the bar is that fourth wall for you, you can break through it. You really, really can. So yeah, I get choked up when I watch this as well, because this was like several sessions in, and I was aware of a lot of the stuff and the trauma, and because this is what you wanted to bring out to the world.
Yeah.
You're like coming out. So I knew this was a heavy situation, but I also knew it was like, as heavy as it was with your past and so forth, and in that present, I also knew, man, I'm telling you, I knew there was this newness in you, like this little budding thing. And I stayed with you on, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart to let me work with you and to be a part of that journey at that time. So I'll share it with people. And I'll say this, spoiler alert, what you did at that time and you do now is you connected with why you're doing this, who are the people, what it matters to you, how people matter to you. That's where I started to see you break through, because you weren't stuck on yourself in a sense. In fact, you talk about it, spoiler alert, but that you were really thinking about others, like really thinking about others. And I see it. And that's why I watched that one specifically, because I'm like, I'm stuck in my bubble thinking about me. And then I watch it and I go, there it is. It's about others. There's the freedom. I can let go. I'm not in pain because I'm thinking about me. I get to see that, and it's about others. That's the freedom. And
Mhm.
you did it at that time, and you did it time after that. And now I'm in like addicted to watching your stuff. It's like candy, online candy. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here
It's
we
gonna
go.
be wild to watch this.
All right. You see my screen?
Mhm.
Okay. Give me a thumbs up. You hear the audio, and here we go. How do you view yourself as a coach with clients, with other people?
Intuitive, connected, strong, loving as shit, happy, joyful, excited.
Boom. Your strength lies in your connectivity, your relationship, your A to B relationship with you and your coaching. Why do you care to share you and what you teach?
Because I know what a difference it makes. I've been through it. I've been disconnected completely. I've been so in my head. I've been so wrapped up in my own experience that I couldn't see other people's experience. And I thought everything was about me. And when you start to unravel those triggers and those traumas, and when you start to connect to yourself and get back in your body, you have a whole different kind of freedom. And you have so much more choice.
Excellent. Thank you. Wow. That was your 2019, 2020. Taking the leap.
It's so wild because how much has shifted and like one of the things about the work I do, it's like I need to keep pushing and do the work because one, it's what lights me up um and gives me more, but the more free I get, the more joyful I get, the more whole I get. That just means I can guide other people to that level. So, like, what I was capable of doing then is so different than what I was capable of doing now because I do what a lot of coaches don't do is I don't think I have it all figured out. I keep going, I keep expanding, I keep growing, I keep doing the things that will blow me wide open because that means I can take other people that far too, because you can only truly take people as far as you yourself have come. And so, yes, I do it for me because it gives me more freedom and it feels really good. And I get to literally, my job is to live my best fucking life. And that's so fucking cool, really. It's like so cool. But because of that, I can help other people do that. I can help people live that life beyond safe, beyond fine. And it's wild to watch. Like, at that time, I was so much more connected and so much more in my body than I had been ever. And now I look at that, I'm like, "Oh, I'm totally disconnected." I'm totally not. I'm like but it's like, it's layers and levels, and there's always more we can expand into because we're infinite beings.
Yeah, I had and I think you're recorded in your reactions here, if you recorded it, but one of the things that I get to experience is always somebody's reaction. So I got to see your reaction watching that, and you had a reaction. You were like, you, something, it affected me. I'm watching you live, seeing you, and it was amazing. It was beautiful to see you, see yourself, which is also nice about recordings. I see a lot of myself and I'm like, wow, I'm growing, I'm learning.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you're able to experience that. And I'll tell you what, that new beginning, again, you did a lot of work prior to meeting me,
Yeah.
but you were just starting to put that work on camera
Yeah.
and
Totally.
on and being seen and go, oh my God, all right, it was an awkward, wild thing, and you did it. Obviously, you're here now. You're such an energy and a force. I want you to know that. So take that new beginning. Always remember that you have that new beginning and all the new beginnings you have. And as you work with as you work with people and you help them on the new beginnings, it's because you've been there, done that. And you're always going to keep doing new beginnings. So again, props to you on that. Um, Remember that apartment? Remember that old apartment?
I still have that apartment.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Look at you. She's like bi-coastal. That's what happens when you go entrepreneur, people. Um, So let me jump into a couple of things. So as I said, yeah, so I realized a couple of things in my life. I've done a lot of stuff and been around and coached a lot of cool offers and had businesses and had a family business with my mom and my dad. And as I've looked at my life today, and I'm like, what do I want to do? Do I want to keep running with the big boys and all of that? And I'm like, you know what I want to do? I want to help people to make that transition. I want to be a part of that newness with people again. Because I'm telling you right now, because there's a newness going on in my life right now, that
Mhm.
you've done your 10K, you've done your hours, and you can do something different. You don't have to let that go and not use it. Nope, it'll transition. You made a transition. You took the bar out of the way and you came around and your life is here, but your skill set is just growing and growing and growing. You didn't let it go. You allowed it to empower you and you brought it to video and the world thanks you for that. And anybody can do that if they jump. Anyone can do that if they make that decision. So I'm going to ask a few questions. I always ask some people, and some people will throw some questions my way that want me to answer it, but I always want to do it on my show. So some of these are a little sales related, but more so specifically to your what you do. And
Mhm.
so I'm gonna throw them out, and if anything that if I wanna give an answer to, I'll go ahead and do it. But one of the first ones that I wanna say here is, it was asked specifically, how do trauma responses masquerade as strengths in high performers?
Yeah. First of all, hyper independence. So I'm going to handle everything. I'm going to get it all done. That's a big one. And that comes from typically being let down as a kid. But here's the thing that people don't realize. Like a lot of times you had parents that showed up for you, but you'll still have that over the top crazy hyper independence. Because some of this shit is passed down through generations and it's wired into your DNA. And the thing that happens, and for me, I think that's very true. Um, my grandmother was ballsy. Like she divorced in the whatever 50s or like 50s, 40s, but she divorced her first husband and and she was very like adamant about becoming independent. And it's a trauma response because she, at that time, you didn't, you needed, as a woman, technically, you needed a man to be able to survive financially. And so she worked, she did all these things. And when she got remarried, she penny pinched and saved and saved and saved and saved because of that hyper independence. I want to be independent. I don't want to have to count on anybody. So that's one of the things. And then that was passed down to my mom and it was passed down to me. And even though my childhood let me down, and so I had that thing where it's like I have to do it all myself, but that's a big thing for high performers. And also, the other big thing is that you lean into what everybody wants you to do and you neglect taking care of yourself. So you'll lean into that workaholism. Like I did that. I was a workaholic since I was 15. I worked almost full time in high school. And yeah. So you'll do that because one, you're afraid of what you'll lose if you take time for yourself. Oh my God, they're going to take away this job, this money, the bonus, the promotion. And so all of those things um lead to burnout and also really lead to you pushing down all those aspects of you, you being the opposite of being the wolf. And you end up in this place where you get to the promotion, you get, you make partner as a lawyer, your business. Like I had a podcast guest who had $140 million buyout of his company and he woke up the most depressed he's ever been in his life because subconsciously he was trying to do all that work, all that work, all that work and be perfect and be great and prove himself, prove that he is worthy so that he would be loved at the deepest level. And then nobody fucking cared. It wasn't like everybody just all of a sudden wrapped around him and warmed up with this like feeling of love. And I think this is really normal for a lot of people when you don't get the connected love. There's a lot of parents who are there, but they're not present and they're not connected. If you don't get that, you're always searching for that thing to fill you up. And you don't realize that you can fill it up with yourself because you have a disconnected parent. If your parent was connected, they would be demonstrating how you fill yourself up with love. And so that seeking validation, that seeking worthiness, that seeking of proving yourself is such a huge trauma response of like high performers. And it's not always, this is so important. It's not always because your parents did some crazy bad thing. Sometimes it's generational. Sometimes it's stuff that's actually, this is a lot of the stuff I work with is generational, the deeper trauma and a lot of stuff stems in pre-verbal experiences. So, you know, how many times in our generation did they tell like the baby just cry it out? Just let the baby cry it out. And so what that teaches the baby before it even has any understanding is that it's on its own.
Mm.
And so even if your parent, like maybe the baby monitor broke, you know, it's not even if your parent did anything like bad or was neglectful. It's like just normal stuff creates stress response in the nervous system. And so a lot of stuff that needs to be addressed and healed and cleared and resolved is pre-verbal. And, you know, when you're going to therapy, you can't talk about pre-verbal shit because you don't fucking remember it,
Yeah.
you know? And so, yeah, anyway, that's, and when you're talking about performing, so you're going to end up burning yourself out. You're going to end up bending who you are. You're going to end up not happy with all the money in the world. So those are just some of the things that happen as like if you haven't dealt with your shit. And again, it's hard because some of it is pre-verbal, some of it's repressed trauma, and some of it is generational. And you can't deal with something you don't remember.
Yeah. You know, you're talking about something. I'm so, again, I'm so excited. I'm so happy that you, first of all, you responded to me on Facebook, or however we communicate. A lot of time has passed. So now I'm going to get transparent and upfront with you. A lot of time has passed between you and and you've journeyed so many things, and you've shifted your program and your services, and you're like on, I don't know, 3,000 episodes by now. I mean, you're putting a lot out there. You're connecting with a lot of people. And for the longest time, I thought, oh my gosh, doesn't like me because we didn't communicate anymore, or for a while. Again, COVID was wacky. That threw everybody out. We all dealt with COVID here in New York and in the world. But, you know, I also tend to coach and be really direct. I get in there, kind of like you are, you know? And I was like, was it me? Is it her? What's going on? And it was always like this unspoken thing. It was like a chapter that I was like, is it closed? Is it opening? Where are we? I know she's busy. I'm busy, but this is a human being, an entity that entered my life. And that matters to me when people enter my life and I enter their lives. And at one point, I don't have the date, but I'm going to read this. We were connecting. I was like, hey, what's going on? Whatever. And at one point, you texted me back. And I was like, what? I read it several times. I was like, no, what? No, what? No, what? And I'm like, she's not fucking saying that, is she? And it hit me. It's hitting me right now. And I'll share it if you don't mind.
Sure.
You said, something like, I said, hey, how's it going? And you go, I want to thank you for being a part of all the things that got me to this place. You taught me that sales is service.
Mm.
It took me a while to truly understand that. But once I did, it opened up a lot for me and my business. So thank you, Alex, from the bottom of my heart. The fact is that you were an instrumental part of my current success, and I'm so grateful. I hope you are thriving, and I hope you are so full of joy. And I was like, I was like, what? Me? And I never heard that from you. And when I heard that, like there was a sales to service and all of that, but that bottom of your heart, and I was like, wow, that made me somebody at that moment. And it made me feel good. So I thank you on my show for sending that to me. Um, it meant and it means the world. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's making me teary-eyed.
I want to tackle something here in the next couple of minutes here because you are a business. You're an entrepreneur. You're helping people. And there's an exchange. There's sales, there's an exchange. And when you said sales to service, that hits me every time because that's how I grew up. I grew up with a mom and pop shop. My dad was a fifth generation watchmaker. I became the sixth. My mom did pearls and just communicated. And so for me, I grew up not seeing the sales part of it, but I saw the service part of it. I saw my family helping people, generations, and it meant everything to me. People loved my dad. They loved my dad with his thick accent, and they connected with him because he was making their wedding rings. And then soon their daughter grew up and he was making their wedding rings. And I was like, what a great way to make money. Sales has always been service has always been what sales is to me. And so with that, that is what I'm going to call it. That is who you are. You are a service first sales. And I want you to know that because you provide that service. And so I'm going to ask you another question here. That's why I wanted to set up the word sell. And this is specifically for you. How does unhealed trauma shape the way we sell,
Yeah.
and communicate?
One of the things about unhealed trauma is there's a couple of things. One is you don't have access to all of you. So when you have unhealed trauma, you are subconsciously in a prevent and protect mode. So you're going to be a lot more scared of people not liking you. And if you're a sensitive human being, a little bit empathic, you're going to feel when they feel uncomfortable. And if you cannot stand in their uncomfortableness because somebody feeling uncomfortable was the person that hurt you, you're going to not be able to hold the space for them to be able to make a decision that's right for you. What you will do, and I'd say this because I've done it, is you will subconsciously like try to say something to make them feel better. And the thing is, when we talk about sales to service, a lot of times people don't understand how bad their situation really is. They have a lot of my clients like partway in will all of a sudden start dealing with financial shit and tax shit that they've buried for fucking decades because all of a sudden they're ready to face it. But you have to solve a problem, you have to face it. And so a lot of people who are in a sales conversation, they're there because, especially in a coaching situation, they're there because they have a problem that they want solved, but they have to be able to look at actually the pain and what's causing it. And if you can't do that, you're never going to be able to solve the problem. So if you're a person who has unhealed trauma, if sitting in that space of their uncomfortability is going to be really difficult. Now, some people can do it because some people just shut their own emotions down, and that's how they deal with their unhealed trauma. But those people on the other side are not going to be able to connect and truly understand the person because they're not going to be able to feel the emotions of the person. and be able to really understand where they're at. And if you can't understand where somebody is at, you might push too hard to the point of like where you send them into like a panic or something, and then they just walk away forever. And if what you have to offer is really what they need and you believe that in your whole heart, then it is your job, it is your duty to help them. And if your service is the thing that can help them, awesome. And if it's something else that you know, then fucking tell them about that, because it's not necessarily about you making the money. It's about you helping them get to the thing that will solve their problem in the best way that you know how, from the most genuine care. And when you stop thinking about it as, oh my God, I need this money, I need to make this sale, people feel that shit. And the only people that, if you're a coach trying to sell clients, the only people that respond to that are also people who are in desperation. And so those are going to be your super high maintenance clients, your super needy clients, the ones who actually are hoping that somebody else will solve the problem for them instead of you guiding them to solve the problem for themselves. So that's just a little bit quiet, unhealed trauma, like how it affects you in sales.
Let me give you a quick one here because I love where you're at. I love where you're going. I love your headspace. I'm totally aligned with you right now. Can rejection trigger wounds that have nothing to do with the sale?
You mean if somebody says no and you're the salesperson? And yeah, of course. Because what happens when you're talking about trauma or just any wound that's unprocessed, and let me clarify what trauma really is. Any situation that is emotionally overwhelming and you did not get to the point of full resolution where it was not overwhelming. Most people, a lot of times when something's overwhelming, it's like you stop and then you pivot and you avoid, or something distracts you. And then that stuff, that frequency of energy is still locked in your body, which means that it's there to be tapped. And so if your mom didn't go to, I mean, like, obviously it could be super extreme, like my mom not coming home for days at a time when I'm a kid, or it could be like me being left in the crib overnight while my mom would go to work with no babysitter. Like that could be real, so it could tap that, but it could also could be my dad never goes to my baseball game. And so as a little one, you're in this place where you think it's all about you. So you think your dad is rejecting you. And so now you get rejected in this sale and you're like pissed off or you're really sad, you're one or the other. And what you're actually responding to is not what's present. You're responding to the past. So the way a smell brings you right back in time. You have certain smells or a song that just brings you right back and you feel the feelings of being right there. That's exactly what happens. And so most people, especially if they're feeling negative emotions as an adult, most of the time it's unresolved stuff from the past. They're not actually in the present. They're in what I call a trauma loop back into the past.
I love that. I'm going to wrap it up with a question from the heart and take a minute to think about this. What do you know now? What do you feel now in you that everything you went through,
Mm.
from being locked up to holding that hand, meeting everybody you met that's here and no longer here, all the jobs you've had, the hours you've put in, the ups, the downs, the shit and the happiness. What is the one thing you know in your heart that it was specifically designed for you to have gone through so you could be here right now and communicate this and share this to the world so that you can do your job? You can do what you're meant to do, help others, but be a part of other people's lives. What is that? Either what is that number one thing that you want to mention, or what is it that you know why this was your life was specifically for you and why you're here today with it?
Yeah. So I believe that people who have had really hard lives, but somehow deep inside, they know that there's something more than what they grew up in for them. I believe that they came here to do big work. Um, and I know for me, as I look at my life, and especially we didn't get into this, but when I was hiking to Everest Base Camp, I uncovered a lot of trauma that I had been repressed. Another like 2 years of very physical, like over the top physical abuse, and finally, like clearing and moving that through my system, it finally has allowed me to fully, truly, and I can say this for real because I could kind of say it before. Oh, it's so great that I went through all this stuff because now I can help people through all blah, blah, blah. But now I can finally see the gift of the life that I had, because what I know is like my work is about bringing you back to wholeness so that you can actually create a life that is above safe, above fine. Like that's all fine and dandy. But in order to do that, there's a lot of people who have been trying everything out there and nothing is working. And if I didn't go through all of the things that I went through and I didn't have the pre-verbal experiences that were like crazy, if I didn't have the repressed trauma, if I didn't have the generational stuff, I wouldn't have figured out the unlock. And so without that, all of that, and without it being totally fucking extreme, I wouldn't have been able to figure it out, which means I wouldn't be able to figure it out for other people and help other people be the cycle breakers in their families, in their industries, because it's not just about your family and breaking the cycle in your family. It's also, if you want to be an innovator, if you want to be a trailblazer and you have these brilliant ideas, you have to be able to withstand that status quo and be able to move beyond it. And in order to do that, you have to dig deep and dig out this shit that nobody can typically access. And I would never have been able to do that because everything I fucking tried wasn't enough. It wasn't deep enough. So I had to keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. And my work changed completely from everything that I was trained into something that was completely unique and completely mine. And in that, like I have a client who spent over $500,000 trying to figure out how to feel better until he started working with me. Nothing has worked, and he's still my client because he's like, every fucking week I get more access to me. And my belief is that the more people we have operating from the truth, from the wholeness of who they are, that it will evolve, harmonize, and it'll evolve humanity, and it will harmonize our whole fucking planet. So, yeah. So that's why I went through what I went through, and I'm so fucking grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm grateful that you're on my show, but I'm also grateful to have known you since 2019 and to see you now today, who you are, moving and shaking up and changing the world for because of who you are and what you do. And I'm going to say, everybody out there watching this, I'm going to drop all your info in the description on the channel here. Guys, listen, life is short. It's extremely short. If this resonates with you as it has with me, and it will always resonate with me, take action. Don't waste time. Reach out to her. She's a badass. She's been doing this. She cares about this. She's that entity, that unicorn in life. I know this. I put my stamp on this. I back this up. Thank you for being you. Thank you for going through all that and coming out and still wanting to go there with people, wanting to help people go through all of that. That's a badass to me.
Thank you.
Guys, gals, follow this person, be a part of this person. Don't worry about the money. It's there, it'll come, but get the service, get the help, get the love. Thank you. You're a big part of my life. And thank you for being you on my show.
Thank you, Alex.
And with that, enjoy your life out in California. I'll come visit you.
It's sunny out here
I
and
know.
not too hot.
Be hot. You look great.
Thanks.
Be blessed and be prosperous. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.